Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to MEA'S Place. Today we are doing a book review on Can Science Explain Everything by John C. Lennox. And I highly recommend reading this book because it does answer a whole lot of tough questions about when in a scientific way. And it also helps whenever you have children and even teenagers who throws questions at you that is more hard to explain. This helps answers some of their questions, especially when you are dealing with young people. In this book, John C. Lennox, he explains and answers the question, can you be a scientist and believe in God? He also explains the history into science from Newton's arguments and Hawking's arguments. He explains and debunks the certain myths when it comes down to religion depends on faith, but science doesn't. He debunks that, giving examples and about that it does depend on faith. He also debunks the myth about science depends on reason, but Christianity doesn't. He debunks that and gives evidence that it does. He also gives answers and explains the question, can we really take the Bible seriously in a scientific, literate world? Lennox explains the scientific approach to miracles. He also answers the tough question on can you trust what you read from the Bible, and explains the arguments that try to disprove Christianity when it comes to the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And he also shares his own personal experience with Christianity, along with people he has met along the way. This is a very good read and a very good book if you are just getting into scientific books like this. This is a very good book to read. A little on John C. Lennox. He is a mathematician, a professor. Let's see if I can find him. There we go. Okay, there we go. This is a little bit about John C. Lennox. He is a professor of mathematics, University of Oxford, and he is also a fellow in mathematics and philosophy of science at Green Templeton College, and associate fellow of said business school. And I'm going to read you a little section here of what I'm talking about. A little passage in Can Science Explain Everything of what he talks about. And this is in the section of natural and supernatural. Now, some people say that if an explanation is to be regarded as scientific, it must be a natural explanation in terms of physical processes. For instance, the movement of vast tectonic plates as an explanation of earthquakes. That is, their definition of science includes specifying that explanations may only be in terms of natural processes. If we applied that definition to the incident with the cows, we would have to say that the supernatural explanation is not scientific. In the incident with the cows, he's talking about in the Bible of Daniel. The thing we must not say, but many nevertheless do, is that it is therefore not a rational or a true explanation. It is a perfectly rational explanation. Remember, the very existence of human reason gives evidence of a supernatural dimension. What the incident of the cows illustrates is that even if you restrict science to natural explanations, science can still give evidence of the supernatural when it shows that no natural explanation is forthcoming. In other words, there are situations where we shouldn't just give up if explanations in terms of natural processes doesn't work. We should be prepared to follow the evidence where it leads, even if that involves a supernatural dimension. Science cannot answer all questions. As a much more recent example of such thinking at work, take the case of philosopher Professor Anthony Flew, a lifelong atheist who late in life changed his mind and came to acknowledge the existence of God. He gave as the reason of his conversion, after over 50 years, the fact that I can talk. Biologists investigation of DNA has shown by the almost unbelievable complexity of the arrangements which are needed to produce life that intelligence must have been involved. He added, "My whole life has been guided by the principle of Plato's account of Socrates. Follow the evidence where it leads. And what if people don't like it? Well, that's too bad," said Flew. Flew was right. The principle of following evidence where it leads is extremely important. It may mean that we have to go beyond narrowly defined scientific explanations in terms of natural processes. But it need not lead us beyond rational explanation. It might even lead us to the right explanation. And there you go, a little sneak peek into Can Science Explain Everything? I will leave a link down below where you can get this book. It is a very fascinating and amazing read, and it answers a whole lot of scientific questions about things. And it also gives more evidence into Christianity and the Bible in a scientific way. I highly recommend this book. I will leave a link down below. Again, this is Can Science Explain Everything by John C. Lennox. He explains it beautifully. I love the way he explains it and answers these tough questions in life. I will leave a link down below in the description down below on where you can get this book. And also, don't forget to look down in the description below on some shirts, because we can't go naked all the time, okay? We need to wear some clothes. So you might as well scroll down in that description and look at some holy clothes. Until next time, God bless you in everything that you do.